Forget the idea that artificial intelligence is just some neat trick or a helpful little assistant. What we're looking at today is not a standard software update. It's a tectonic shift in human productivity, literally a fundamental rewriting of the global economy's underlying code. In this explainer, we're diving straight into the hard, peer-reviewed data behind the GitHub Copilot shockwave and exactly how it's rapidly transforming the multi-billion-dollar software industry and potentially your own career, right from the ground up.
55.8%.
Burn that number into your memory. This is not some hyped-up marketing projection, and it's definitely not an arbitrary benchmark. This is the exact measurement of an economic earthquake. It represents the unprecedented, mind-blowing velocity at which human developers are suddenly operating when they're augmented by AI.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The 55.8% shockwave, the Peng et al. Trial. To really understand the sheer scale of this shockwave, we have to isolate the actual science from the hype. We're pitting the old world entirely against the new world. The control group, coding manually, took an average of 160.89 minutes to complete a standard programming task. But the treated group, augmented by GitHub Copilot, they absolutely shattered that timeline. They finished in just 71.17 minutes. That is a 55.8% reduction in time. In the brutal bottom-line mathematics of corporate productivity, a 55% speedup doesn't just mean clocking out early. It means a single developer is now literally doing the work of 1.5 developers. Now, you might be wondering, was this just some rigged corporate test? Absolutely not. Just look at the strict scientific conditions of the trial. 95 professional, recruited developers were randomly divided. The task was highly specific. Build a JavaScript HTTP server. A task most developers find painfully tedious anyway. And everything was heavily monitored via GitHub Classroom, maintaining strict isolation between the control group and the ones using the OpenAI Codex-powered Copilot. This is hard, rigorous science. It proves this shockwave is intensely real. But here is the wild part, the gap between expectation and reality. When the developers in this trial were surveyed, they estimated they were moving about 35% faster. But the actual measured data showed a 55.8% gain. Now, developers are notoriously bad at estimating time, but usually they underestimate the actual work, not the AI. The developers themselves drastically underestimated the impact. The shockwave was literally moving faster than even the people writing it could perceive.
Section 2. Democratizing the code, leveling the playing field.
The sheer speed of this AI is staggering, right? But the suspense really builds when we uncover exactly who inherited this massive power. This wasn't just a tool that made the elite tech giants even richer. The AI armed the underdogs. The data reveals that the absolute greatest beneficiaries of GitHub Copilot were actually less experienced programmers, developers older than 25, and those who already carried a heavier daily workload. It didn't just boost the top tier, it fundamentally leveled the playing field, effectively ending the traditional junior developer hazing period.
So what happens when the coding playing field is instantly leveled? When a total novice can suddenly execute at the speed of a seasoned veteran?
Section 3. The Enterprise Takeover, Scaling the Shockwave.
Because when you apply this tech to massive global conglomerates, the stakes escalate astronomically. Take Accenture's randomized controlled trial with roughly 450 developers. The results are staggering. An 8.69% increase in pull requests, a 15% jump in faster merges. And just think about the sheer leap in that final metric, an 84% increase in successful builds. An 84% jump. This is the technology operating at a massive corporate scale, radically altering how software moves from a basic idea to reality. And this momentum builds even further in the ZoomInfo field study. Over 400 developers there experienced a 33% full suggestion acceptance rate from the AI, which resulted in a massive 72% overall developer satisfaction rate. The effect isn't isolated, guys. It's rapidly replicating across entirely different massive corporate environments. To really understand how we got here, we have to trace this tectonic evolution. It actually started back in 2014 as a simple Microsoft research project, just a Bing code search plugin. Fast forward to 2021, and it mutated into the GPT-3 Codex autocomplete that we saw in the Bing trial. And now, in 2026, we're living in the era of autonomous cloud agents. The evolution from a simple search bar to an autonomous system executing multi-step tasks in the background, it is terrifyingly fast.
And this brilliantly illustrates our new reality. Copilot is no longer a product, it's an orchestration layer.
It is entirely shifted from a tool that merely suggests what code comes next to an autonomous system that takes a task and basically says, let me know when you're done. It is completely orchestrating the workflow.
Section 4. The trillion-dollar token. Rewriting the economics of software.
Now this brings us to the hidden, almost conspiratorial mechanics of how we actually pay for software. Think about the stark contrast between the old world and our 2026 reality. In the old world, you had human-centric billing, paying a flat monthly fee for a developer to use a tool. But today, we're in a new machine-centric economy governed by usage-based AI credits, token billing, and autonomous agent execution. You're no longer just paying for a human's time, you're paying for the machine's utilization.
So the crucial point is how this actually works under the hood. Step 1, those standard base code completions you type out, they still remain unlimited. But step 2 is where the revolution really kicks in. Autonomous cloud agents running agentic workflows entirely in the background, reviewing code, resolving issues, running tests, they now consume from a shared enterprise AI credit pool. And step 3, when those swarms of agents use up the pool, overages build at just 1 single cent per AI credit. But let me tell you, when autonomous swarms execute thousands of tasks a minute, those pennies quickly become an empire. The pricing architecture lays this out perfectly. The Copilot business plan at $19 includes 1,900 credits, while the enterprise plan at $39 doubles that to 3,900 credits. But remember, that base subscription is just the entry fee. The real cost and the real massive economic value now lies in the sheer utilization of these models by autonomous swarms working right alongside your human developers.
Section 5. The economic earthquake. The macro impact.
Now, let's look at the macroeconomic endgame. $464.8 billion. Just let that number sink in for a sec. That is not some inflated startup valuation. That is the total annual wage footprint of U.S. computer and math occupations as tracked by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That $464.8 billion represents over 4.6 million workers, software engineers, data scientists, statisticians. We're talking about roughly 2% of the entire gross domestic product of the United States. Now take that initial data point, that massive, scientifically proven 55.8% speed up, and apply it directly to this massive chunk of the global economy. The sheer amount of cost savings, the acceleration of output, the explosion in productivity, it is a total unprecedented paradigm shift. Which leaves us staring at a final, incredibly critical question. If an autonomous orchestration layer can make an entire sector of the global economy 55.8% faster overnight, does it permanently augment human value, allowing us to build the previously impossible? Or, as the token economy scales, does it fundamentally begin to replace it? It's a chilling question that every single enterprise and every single developer must answer today.